Okay, on to the next Skip the Line reaction, man. And this one is Forestella, If I Leave, man. It's a Skip the Line reaction from Michael Rater, so I really appreciate that. Let's try and get these this week's STLs completely wrapped up by the end of this weekend. I would actually wanted to have them wrapped up by Friday, but unfortunately I couldn't for many different reasons, which I did express on the sphere. The message over here is, this song is about an Empress Myeongseong. I hope I didn't butcher that. The last empress of the Chosun Dynasty. In the 19th century, Japan invaded Korea and assassins killed the empress and burned her body. A Korean wrote this song from the empress' perspective when she realized that something bad was going to happen to her. I found several translations of the Korean lyrics, so included one with of this version in the video. I'm not sure how accurate they are, but I think they're good enough to get the message across. Awesome. Okay, let's rock and roll. As you know, I love Forestella, so I'm sure this is going to be great. Let's see.
쓸쓸한 달빛 아래 내 그림자 하나 생기거든. 그땐 말해볼까요 이 마음 드러나 주라고. 문득 새벽을 알리는 그 바람 하나가 지나거든. 그저 한숨 쉬듯 물어볼까요 난 왜 살고 있는지.
Wow.
나 슬퍼도 살아야 하네.
It's got a beautiful voice.
슬퍼서 살아야 하네.
I like that, but because I'm sad, I must continue living, right? It's because, you know, I've got an obligation to change this, not only for myself, but for the people around me. I like that line over there.
슬퍼서 살아야 하네. 이 삶이 다고나야 할 텐데
Voice is deep.
내가 이 세상을 다녀간
This is a great line over here. When this life is complete, I will finally know. When this life is complete, I will finally know the reason that I came by this world. That's actually a very beautiful line over there, specifically when referencing or referring to an empress, right? Where it's like, I'm there for a purpose. I'm there to do something. I'm there to do something good for the people. I believe that most people that go into power, they in their initial phase, not when they actually get into the system of power and they somewhat become a bit corrupted. In their initial phase, people want to enter into politics because they have some ideas. You know, they have ideas for change, and I think it all comes from a really good place in the beginning. And I think along the way, it sort of somewhat gets distorted, and then when they eventually get into power, because of the systems that are in place, they then get corrupted, right? But I think most people who want to go into these positions of power have ideas because they're coming from a very humble place, right? They don't have power yet, but they have ideas of how they can change things for people, right? So you've got to look at that and be like, that's something admirable, right? But when the system controls everything, and things become, it can sometimes overwhelm a human being, and it can easily flip a human being because of, temptations, and because of quality of life, or whatever it is, whatever the reasons are. They tend to sort of divert from their purpose, divert from the reason as to why they initially went into power. I don't believe that most people are bad when going into power. I just think they look at the world in a certain way, and they think that they can change what's wrong and make it right. And sometimes it works and sometimes it fails.
이 세상을 다녀간 그 이후 나가고 기억하느니 나 슬픔까지도 사랑했다. My head
I love the depth, like the deepness of his voice, man. Like from here, comes from the gut. It's beautiful. Let's go.
내 아픈 기억도 바래지며
그때 웃어질까요 이 말은.
Beautiful poetic line over there, even in the moments of scattered rays of sunlight, like sunlight is now depleting. In that moment, would my heart be able to smile? Right? In the darkest days and the darkest nights. Beautiful.
저기 홀로서 별하라 나의 외로움을 아는 건지
차마 날 두고는 떠나지 못해 밤새 그 자리에만
Beautiful.
나 슬퍼도 살아야 하네. 나 슬퍼서 살아야 하네.
I've said this time and time and time again. Each one of these artists, right, of Forestella, of this group, right, have a different. Firstly, they've got a different sort of disposition about them, and they've got a very different vocal texture to them. And then when you layer that all, it's absolutely beautiful. Like you get the soft, and you get the more deep, and you get the there's just so many different layers that really sort of elevate the track really, really well, because none of them are the same. Like everything is different. All in there, they all have a different feel to them in their own right. Wow. Wow, power, deep, emotional. Wow, man. sounds like the words of a powerful person. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like a word of the words of if you actually think back in the day in terms of like the emperors and empresses, like they always had these powerful notions, right? That like don't celebrate how I, don't mourn for how I died, celebrate how I lived, essentially, like with kind of like a Japanese type notion, essentially. Very powerful, heroic people who stood on a certain moral value. Did they do everything right? No. Did they do everything wrong? No. Right? But they stood on an idea and they stood on a value, and they took the consequences that came with that, right? They stood by their convictions. They didn't waver, right? And then that's where you got all these really powerful statements from these people. And the instrumentation in this is absolutely beautiful as well, man. Wow. Please make them believe. Fantastic, man. That was absolutely beautiful, man. Stage set was beautiful. It was dark and ominous. It really sort of played well with the song, the actual feel on the stage. Lyrics beautiful, vocal delivery spectacular as per usual. The song itself beautiful, instrumentation beautiful, absolutely fantastic, man. This is one of the most beautiful ones I've seen of theirs. Anyway, I love you all. You guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.